What's up? What's up? This is District Sentinel Radio, the newscast of record for the left. I'm Sam Sachs.
I'm Sam Knight.
With that volume on his computer.
It's Monday. I forget things.
We are broadcasting out of the Sentinel Fort in Washington, D.C. Check out the website, districtsentinel.com.
As I noted, it is Monday. Tough day, but...
Tough weekend.
Tough weekend,
Tough week.
Indeed.
We're getting through here.
We have something to brighten our Monday. This gritty shirt.
Yeah, we got a gritty shirt. Thanks to our subscriber, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah, for sending us this amazing gritty shirt.
Yeah, I'm going to be wearing that gritty shirt soon, but figured we'd decorate the studio with it in the meantime. And sure, the timing of it isn't that great with the whole allegations of scabbing. But as we noted on the Sentinel cast on Friday, there has been no photographic evidence of Gritty itself, theirself, crossing a picket line.
That's right.
So until that's shown, I will still proudly wear a Gritty shirt and display them in our studio. Also,
keeping it gritty.
Some bad news, good news situation here. You guys can sort of see it in camera here. Interns suck. Actually, I'll use my mouth cam here. Interns suck. Not looking good here. It seems to have grown some sort of white fungus and looks to be dying. This is strictly after the third Sam, who you all don't see and don't know, but who lives in the Sentinel newsroom, basically, my roommate. He told us not to water it.
He had it covered. He had intern suck covered.
Cover this.
He had intern suck covered.
Look at this now. Look at that. It looks awful. If anybody can diagnose what's wrong with intern suck right now in the chat room, let us know. But just as death brings new life, I went to the post office.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. I went to the post office this morning where we got our gritty shirts, and we got a new plant here.
New intern suck.
Yeah, I think this might have been from... Is this from Keister? Is the chat room saying who this is from? I know Keister said he sent us something. I don't know if this is what he sent us, but whoever sent us this plant, thank you. We have a new intern. Is this a succulent as well?
I don't know. It looks like it's aloe of sorts. It's hatching a pod person is what Jason says. Luke says F, intern suck. F being the press F to show your respect. Luke is showing his respect to intern suck. You know who else is having a tough Monday? Germany. Not really, but I was just trying to do a segue there. It didn't really work out.
Sort of.
But I do have a pun.
What's that?
German's chancellor, Angela, for a new job. Angela Merkel is retiring. She said she is not standing for re-election as chancellor in 2021 or before then if there are snap elections in Germany, which, as I understand it, there's a high likelihood of that happening. Maybe this can reverse the far right in Germany, shake things up, and maybe certain things can happen. I don't know. It's just...
Merkel's been in power for a very long time.
She's presided over some pretty shitty things.
German leaders in general tend to be in power for a very long time.
Schroeder was before her.
Yes. And can she cash out? Do they have like a equivalent of K Street over there where, she can just collect some contracts now that she's getting out? The speaking circuit, is she going to go on the German speaking circuit?
I'm sure she will not be serving at Oktoberfest. We will say that. But she is known for, I think, most recently trying to, at first, welcome refugees, but she also presided over the economic collapse of Europe.
Yeah.
As a very strict advocate of austerity in Greece, Spain, Italy, etc. Some of this already being the framework of European economic integration, but Merkel herself, a big champion of some really awful policies over the past few years.
Yeah, yep, definitely. All right, we're going to get to the news here in just a second, but another quick shout out to loyal listener and subscriber Luke. Luke's probably in the chat room right now. I hope so.
Luke is.
Luke redesigned our intro. You guys might have noticed some slight changes in our intro animation. He also gave us some new graphics packages, including a new little burner icon, corner icon bug, I guess it's called, in the bottom left-hand screen, a little live bug. We also got a new haiku bug coming up that you'll notice later in the show. And then coming on the Sentinel Cast Friday, we might do a live show just so we can debut a new animation Luke sent us. So
Nice.
thank you, Luke. Subscribers, be like Luke. No, you don't have to. We just appreciate you giving us money and listening and everything.
Listening and sending us gritty shirts.
Yeah, sending us gritty shirts, new plants, stuff like that. So,
well,
thank you.
We need the supply of plants because evidently this house doesn't do well on the keeping plants alive. It's a cactus, okay?
We killed a cactus. It has been very fucking cold the last weekend here, especially in this house.
Especially when intern Nate opens the window.
Yeah, intern Nate comes in today and starts opening the windows. It's 55 outside. He's like, it's nice out. It's okay, we don't need the windows. He opens the windows and immediately goes upstairs into his room. There's a certain type of person. Let me just finish this rant, then we'll get on the news. There's a certain type of person who enters houses after like running or exercising or walking long distances and thinks it's incumbent upon them to change the temperature that everybody's been chilling in that room at. It's fine at that temperature. Like, oh, it's hot in here. We got to crank up the air. It's like, no, you just came in from running or exercising or something. Go stand in the freezer. But Nate's that type of person.
Yeah, Nate, go.
You know who you are if you are that type of person.
Go to the walk-in. There was a lot of sad news this weekend, which we're getting to in the newscast. We should probably just get to it.
Right.
Enough of the Nate esoterica.
Yeah, it's Monday, October 29th, 2018. Here's the news.
Killings on Saturday at a Pittsburgh synagogue was the worst incident of anti-Semitic violence in U.S. history. It was also motivated by hatred of Latin American asylum seekers. On far-right social media, just hours before his attack, gunman Robert Bowers espoused hatred for Jews who help refugees, citing the caravan from Honduras that's constantly being maligned by our president. Despite this, or perhaps more accurately because of this, President Trump, of course, started off today by renewing his attack on the caravan. Today, he tweeted that, quote, many gang members and some very bad people are mixed into the caravan heading to our southern border. Please go back, Trump added. You will not be admitted into the United States unless you go through the legal process. This is an invasion of our country, and our military is waiting for you, end of quote.
This is months after the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen tweeted that it is legal to seek refuge at ports of entry into the United States and elsewhere. Now it's not anymore.
Yes,
it's straight up illegal.
It is legal. Also,
and she didn't need to tweet that. It's just known that's legal. But
right. And no evidence of gang members in the caravan either. As Trump referenced in his tweet, his administration said last week that it would respond to the caravan by stepping up border militarization by additional 8 to serve and support the border. Today, the White House upped the possible size of that support contingency by a lot. The Department of Homeland Security told USA Today that the administration could ask for as many as 1,000 troops to send to the border. So again, this is to deal with asylum seekers, calling the military to deal with asylum seekers. This president is whipping up racist violence both directly as commander-in-chief and indirectly as a fascist shit poster with a giant platform.
More on that 5,000 number, the troops headed to the border. This is Trump trying to keep news about the so-called caravan on the front pages. It's also a massive number, far higher than the 800 soldiers that were reportedly going to be called to the southern border. Important to remember, there are already nearly 2,100 National Guardsmen along the border. The deployment ostensibly is to assist with logistics. Thousands of refugees are seeking asylum, as earlier. There are concerns, though. I mean, anytime thousands of people with guns are being deployed within the U.S., it raises concerns, especially when it's this administration doing it. Those concerns weren't extinguished during today's White House press briefing when Sarah Huckabee Sanders didn't rule out waiving key protections that limit U.S. military activity on U.S. home soil.
The president has used the word invasion to describe Ireland. That's the same word that is mentioned in the Constitution 3 times, invasion, with respect to the powers of the federal government to repel invasion. So my question is, have there been any discussions here with respect to that, about the fact that the Constitution provides for example, the suspension of habeas corpus if to repel an invasion, if the public safety requires it? Is the president talking about potentially ignoring comitatus by having the military go down? There's a provision in the law that allows for a constitutional exemption. Is that in any way under?
We're looking at a number of different options. I know that the Department of Defense is holding a press conference this afternoon at 4 o'clock to talk about some of the actions that they'll be taking. I would encourage you to tune in. John?
A note of my question. It has not been ruled out. Those are options on the table?
Look, I'm not going to get into specific policies that we're considering. There's a number of actions that we're looking at taking. When we're ready to make an announcement on that front, we'll let you know.
Look, when you ask if we're going to suspend the Constitution, I'm not going to get into specifics and him and haw over policy.
Exactly. So will the U.S. military be working to arrest people at the southern border? Will they be carrying out missions against U.S. citizens? Maybe. At least this White House isn't all that interested in reassuring anyone otherwise. You would think with this policy, the first thing you'd want to be out is up in front saying, we're not doing this to arrest people. We're not suspending posse comitatus or any of this other stuff. Anyways, that's not what this administration cares about at the moment. According to the Wall Street Journal, the troop request was approved by Defense Secretary Mattis last Friday. Time to take a break now and debut a new graphic. Haiku time graphic again. Thanks to Luke for that one. We appreciate it. Got some fresh ones to you right now.
This is for Matthew. Temptations get me at the corner store each time. Sour candy straws.
Thank you, Matthew.
Had to count my syllables.
I saw that.
There. There's a typo in the
fingers.
There's a typo in the actual.
You did well. You got through it. This one's for Neil. Gonna eat pizza, then some cheese sticks and nachos. Tum-ta-tum-tum-tums.
Thank you, Neil. This is for Michael. Someone just entered the Sentinel studio.
I said that, yes.
This is for Michael. Here's a self-care tip. Remember this to smile. Trump's son's wife left him.
Thank you, Michael. Finally, this is for Joseph. Capitol Police, emergency, report to Paul Ryan's weight room.
Thank you, Joseph.
And thank you to all the new subscribers on Patreon. Remember, that's patreon.com/District Sentinel. Now, let's get back to the newscast. Guess it's me, huh?
It is you.
Over the weekend, unfortunate news, Brazil elected a far-right fascist, Jair Bolsonaro, as president. He got 55% of the vote. Here's his fascist-looking ass. He's been outspoken. For those watching or listening and not watching, I didn't actually show Bolsonaro's ass. Just a picture of his ugly face.
Very ugly, very menacing-looking eyebrows, too.
Bolsonaro's been outspoken in his support for the military, threats of violence against lefties, indigenous people, minorities, women, LGBTQ folks. He has
not
called
just
for
the military
overthrow and dictatorships.
Rule.
Yes. He said he would personally, back in 1999, expel Congress in favor of a military dictatorship. Anyways, he's the real deal. He's pledged to mow down the Amazon. This is truly, truly troubling times. And while most news services and corporate entities in the U.S. Don't see the threat and in some cases welcome it for investment opportunities, there are some progressive Democrats in Congress ringing the alarm. 18 Democrats signed onto a letter to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Friday calling on the U.S. to withdraw any assistance to Brazil if Bolsonaro carries through on his threats. This was a quote from the letter. It is not inconceivable that Brazil could return to dark authoritarian days of recent past. This is not a threat that our country can take lightly, the lawmakers wrote. It was signed by reps including Ro Khanna, Barbara Lee, Pramila Jayapal, and Rahul Grahalva, among others. The letter referenced the violence that's already taken place against members of the party opposing Bolsonaro, the Workers' Party. There have been over 100 reported acts of political violence, a nod to the atmosphere being created by the new far-right leader. Unfortunately, the Democrats' letter is likely to fall on deaf ears. Here was Trump's tweet on Monday, quote, "Had a very good conversation with the newly elected president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, who won his race by a substantial margin. We agreed that Brazil and the United States will work closely together on trade, military, and everything else. Excellent call. Wished him congrats. I'm sure that they will work really well together, a new fascist alliance between the U.S. and Brazil."
How do you say the more things change, the more they stay the same in Portuguese? Because, hey,
you're our foreign
topical
language correspondent.
Well, I know how to say it in French.
Okay, that counts.
In other foreign policy news, the White House is preparing to escalate its trade war with China. Bloomberg reported today that the administration is readying another round of tariff proposals in December. The order would impact $257 billion in Chinese imports. That includes all goods that haven't yet been subject to tariffs by the Trump administration. CNBC said the levies will come if President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping can't reach an agreement on trade. As we've noted on the show, China has already exhausted the number of American imports that it can impose retaliatory tariffs on, something that opens up American companies in China to other forms of retaliation. Now, if they do want to seize iPhone suppliers, Chinese authorities might have to start acting quickly. According to a survey by the American Chamber of Commerce in South China, 64% of U.S. companies in China are considering moving production lines outside of the country. This is as a result of heightened trade tensions between the U.S. and China. Now, this doesn't mean that President Trump's policies will bring jobs back to the U.S. As Reuters noted, only 1% of companies surveyed said they were even considering relocation back to North America.
And that will do it for the newscast on this Monday. What's going on in the newsroom? I know there's been some trouble with the chat room with the stream here. I, like a dummy, forgot to hardwire the internet before the show today. But
yeah, that's why people are saying the stream's
it'll be better
hot.
tomorrow. I also forgot to unplug the dang printer.
Oh, does that?
I don't know. It's more devices on the Wi-Fi.
True. Well, we have some commentary about poor interns suck. Nathan says, not watering interns suck equals wage theft. Jason says, don't go to sleep next to interns suck. Steve says, the other plant will die too. It's meant to live in a low humidity environment. Luke says,
keep sending us plants, folks.
It looks like the new intern is an aloe from Trader Joe's, perhaps.
It does look like an aloe.
Joe says, your potting soil is probably contaminated. Repot interns suck and give him some water. First of all, don't gender our plant. Second of all, thanks for the advice and maybe some hope there. Other questions about temperature, time of year with the heat, moisture in Pisstown. Then conversation moved over to...
Pisstown just sounds like a place you don't want to raise a plant in.
Then convo moves over to the stream. Jason says intern suck is having its revenge on the stream. Then we were what else are we saying? People are talking about Bolsonaro. Alex notes that, of course, the little boy King Macron congratulated him.
Of course.
And then Joe notes Macron is such a weasel. Alex says biggest bench in France.
Yeah. All right. Let's leave it on that.
Let's leave it on that.
Yes,
Macron
that's a good one.
Call
the rant line, 202-684-6108. It's right there.
Wait.
Call it what?
More thing. Randall says, Sam had plenty of time to set up his cute T-shirt, but none to wire up the feed for those who sign his checks.
This is important for the people who sign our checks, too. It's just as important as the internet. All right, call the rant line. As I said, 202-684-6108. Sponsors include the Congressional Dish podcast hosted by Jen Briney and Level News DCDC.org.
For the record, the stream, we post this later,
Yeah.
and the choppiness goes away when we repost it.
I'm not sure it does.
Not sure it does.
No, it
All
stays a
right,
little choppy.
I should have checked on that.
Yeah. All right, we're just going to end it right there. Thank you for listening. We're here in DC, so you don't have to be.